Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, and I am live. Sorry, I am live today with you to talk about making awesome covers. If you're new to my channel, I normally talk about KDP and how to make money online through publishing books on Amazon. And today we're going to talk about cover design, because cover design, I think I've been doing a lot of kind of critiquing people's stuff and things like that. I have a critique on my website and stuff, but I've been just looking out there on Amazon, and a lot of the problems are cover design. And by no means am I a graphic artist. I didn't study, but I am a lifelong learner and I love to learn. So I wanted to talk a little bit about, how to make covers, and I wanted to talk about centering and templates and various things. So what we're going to do is I get inspiration from finding, graphics I like or things I like. And so you're going to laugh a little bit at this, but let me share my screen. Okay, so this is Team Umizoomi, and this is just, it's a cartoon my child loves or used to love. They really liked it. But what I wanted to show you is what I think about Team Umizoomi that I kind of noticed as a parent or as an adult, what made it really interesting and fascinating for kids. Besides, it's got fun characters and bright colors, but it wasn't just the bright colors that really draw you in. If you can see here, like everything has a pattern on it. So the leaves have like a background of pattern. The trees have swirls. The rock here, it's hard probably to see from your screen, but it's got a lot of detail. The flowers have little flowers on it. It's got more textures and colors and patterns and kind of something that just doesn't, it breaks up that complete black or that, a background that has just one color. And so you can do that really easily. And I wanted to show you some ways in Canva and some things that you can do to make that kind of fun. So and I think I've done something like this before in some of my other videos, but I know a lot of you are new, and I really wanted to show you ways to kind of up your cover game and make it more interesting than just, putting some graphic on the front and then, a blank back or things like that. So you can add texture and color to things. And that's one of the things I really like to do. Okay, so I love on Creative Fabrica, but you can try Creative Market, you can try Pixabay, you can try they have a lot of public domain. Pixels and Pixabay have textures and what I call vintage papers. So this is one of the vintage papers I found in Creative Fabrica. I have a subscription, so I use a lot of stuff from Creative Fabrica. But you can buy a lot of these really cheap if you just want to buy a big thing of textured papers, or you can look out there online. There's a lot of free stuff. Just make sure you check the licensing. But usually with vintage papers, it's not too bad as far as the licensing, because you're going to use it with something. You're not just going to, put it right out there. You're going to do something with it. So I just wanted to show you papers. Digital paper is kind of one of the term. And I like the word vintage because it pulls up kind of some of the fun things I'm looking for, like old wallpaper textures and things like that, to kind of add that background texture. All right, so I wanted to show you, if Canva will open. There we are. So what I've done is I've created these template pages. This is a 6x9 120 page template. And what I've done, I'm going to show you kind of how to make these different ones and stuff like that. But I wanted to show you the lines first. Let me make it a little bigger so maybe it's a little easier to see. Oh, that's too far. Right about there. Okay. So you see how I have, I guess I must have moved one of my lines here. Oops. Let me move it back. Okay. That might not be exactly right, but I've made a template where these are the lines. I can maybe make this a tiny bit smaller so you can see all of it. There we go. Okay. And I didn't put this in the right spot. That's too far. There we go. All right. So what these lines are is this is my center line. And a 6x9 120 page, you're going to have, I think it's 925 by 12.52. So this is 12.52. This is 6. I'm sorry. 6.25. And what this is this is your center line. And these two, because everyone always is like, how do I center stuff? So you have to have your spine dimensions. And so in this case, I can't remember what the spine is exactly. I think it's 0.27 inches. And so I've just divided that by 2 and then put half to this side, half to this side as far as difference. I literally just typed it into a calculator because it says the center is 6.26. So I just typed in plus half of 0.27 and half the other way. But I've created these templates and you can do this. But the center, if you're going to center your images, you're going to center from right here to this edge. And these edges are what they call the trim edge. And the trim edge can be Amazon, when the printers print it, they cut, and it just kind of depends where it cuts. So they always want you to keep all the words and things within these lines because some of this or all of this could be cut off. But the page that you see on Amazon where it's showing your cover, it is from here to just slightly to the spine or from the side of the spine. So you want to center basically here to here. And if you're not centering there, that's why on Amazon your thing looks shifted, which looks really, really unprofessional. Now, if you're really not great at centering, I've done designs where it was like I put a main character on the side and then purposely had the wording on the side here because it's a design element, right? I had this 3 quadrants taken up with this character. And then right here was the wording. So you've got to kind of look at those design elements. You want not necessarily blank spaces ever, but you kind of divide your page into fourths and then see if the quadrants look equal. And that kind of will balance the design. But I wanted to, besides talking about that, I've created these templates. Oh, and I should show you how you do that. You, in File, to get these grid lines, you hit Show Rulers, Show Guides. And then once you do that, you can just pull them from the side like that or from the top, okay, and just add them. I made a template, so then what I can do is every time I make a 6x9 120-page template, I just add a page. And then if I want to download it, remember, because it needs to be a PNG, you don't want to download the whole thing like that, right? You're just going to download a specific page. So you're going to download the standard PDF. And then instead of the all pages, you just click down and you just pick which page you want to download, right? Because you would just want to download, maybe this page or this page. So that way you've only have one page for your cover. Obviously, your cover's only going to have one page. Okay, so I hope those tips are really helpful because I think if you just make a template and you pick, if you do like 100-page 6x9s or 120-page 6x9s or 8.5x11s or 8x10s, if you just have some kind of standard sizes you use, then you can reuse these templates and it really makes your production flow faster. Now, if your journal or something only has like, say when you finish it, it ends up with 112 pages, you can add some note pages on the end. Just put notes on the top and then either put some lines or put a box around it so they can do notes or whatever, so that you can make it to 120 pages so you can reuse your templates for your cover over and over again. Make life easy on yourself. Don't try and make all make custom covers and sizes and whatever, but sometimes it's easier just to add a few pages to the end and make it up to a certain size. And so you can create these templates. So that's kind of all I've done. Now, I want to talk to you, like I said, about texture. So you can create, I've downloaded these papers, as you see, and you can create different designs. So what I've done is, design cannot be saved. It's thinking too hard. I've downloaded different ones and then put overlaid on top, and then you can change the transparency. So let me show you how I do that. This one is just actually one of the designs that I've done together. So I'm going to kind of show you how I do these together. And this just kind of shows using the same, like different things and then putting like a purple atop it, that sort of thing. Okay, so let me show you how I do this. All right, so let's do that one first. I'm going to drop this on and I'm going to make it, and it's okay because I don't mind if it's a little fuzzy because it's going to be the background. I know everyone's like, oh, I'm making it bigger. But it's okay because I've meant for this to kind of blend into the background. It's not supposed to be the main image. So if it's a little bit fuzzy, it's okay because that's kind of part of the style I'm going for with the watercolors and the washed out and things. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop another one so I can get the other, and I'm going to kind of make it the same size so that my texture on the front and back are the same. Oops, I didn't make this one quite big enough. Here, I got to move it over. This is me live. Okay, there, it's big enough. So now I'm going to make this one pretty much the same size so my texture is the same. And I'm going to send this one to the back. And I'm going to cut this one over towards the spine. And then I'm going to make this a little bit and then move it over so this kind of gets hidden. And now you're thinking, oh, this is standing out. So we're going to fix that with putting a wraparound cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this to the height I want it to be. And now I'm going to move it over and do kind of a wrapped spine look. And then you can kind of fiddle with it so that it looks good. But these are kind of using textures and patterns. I really like to use textures and patterns to kind of add interest. Just like that Timu Mizumi where there was things in the background, I add textures and colors, and you can use some of the backgrounds they have already in Canva. I just uploaded some of these myself. So let me show you some others with actually using transparency and changing things. So these are just kind of techniques to give you guys ideas. Okay, so I had done an example with, let's see, the map. I think that's the map stuff. So here's the map feature. And I'm going to put it on there. And then I don't necessarily want it this color. So what I decided to do when I was doing this, I decided to, I'll show you just this one so you can see the different effects. Oops, let me undo that. I dropped it in instead of getting it to show up. There we go. I do that occasionally. And this is really showing you the techniques. You have to fiddle and play with this until you get something that really turns out pretty. I actually kind of liked this. I don't know what I would use this for or anything yet, but I kind of liked how that turned out. But this is just to show you the techniques. So you have different types of papers or something, and say you want to change the color or change it up a little bit. There's different ways to do this. There's this one where you have it on the underneath, and then you're going to do, I'm going to search under elements, and I just need, I think this is hopefully a rectangle. Yes, it's a rectangle. So I'm going to drop it across, just make it bigger, since it's just a solid color. All right, and then I'll just kind of make it like that. Okay, now you can fiddle with it and pick a color, maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to try pink, and then fiddle with the transparency, and you end up having kind of that back color come out. And so you could keep it the same color, you can do different things. This is kind of something you have to play with and get better, and some of your designs will be great and some won't. I'm not claiming greatness on this, but it's kind of fun. I think maybe this would be pretty or this would be pretty, but it's going to be like a background instead of, it's just part of the design. It's not like the focal point of the design. It's meant to just kind of offer things. I love ones with like the writing and the mixtures behind it, because let's say you're just going to have a plain back, like you have a very busy cover, but you want, you have a plain back. I love having the plain back color have something like this. So you could also change it to, maybe you want to go for, I'm changing the color of this top square. Maybe you want to try something like in the dark grays. This would be a fun back. It's got a little bit of interest, a little bit of texture, rather than just a gray or a black back. The nice thing about that is if you've bought or gotten the matte covers for the books, matte with black is terrible. It shows fingerprints really badly. But what I did discover is I did grays with textured blacks like this, and then it just didn't show because the texture hid the fingerprints. And so if you're going to do matte, which I love the matte feel and look, you don't want to just put flat black, because it shows fingerprints, it looks dirty. But if you add those textures and patterns in the background of this sort of thing, it really hides that, and it makes the product it really makes it look more quality, especially with the matte, because the matte feels really good. And then with these vintage patterns, it looks really neat. Let's see. Let's do another one. So I'm going to add, let's see, I got to go back to uploads. I'm going to try one with an overlay on top. So I'm just going to do this color over here and make it bigger. And there's so many fun things you can do. I'm going to drop on, and you can make it smaller. So let's say you could make it go to across the whole page, or you could just make it, what I like to do is make the spine sometimes a different color to cover if I'm transitioning or something. So let me find what I was looking for, the notebook paper. Where was the note? Oh, there it is. I don't really like this yellowy color, but I do like ones that have notes on it. So if you, this works better if you can find, and I couldn't find when I was looking quickly last night to find a paper that was just notes without the yellowy parchment look. I don't think the yellow blends well. So if you can find one without the yellow, that's kind of nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it over that. And then I'm going to, let's see if I can filter it. So sometimes these are fun. Try these different filters. See if it, see this, that actually makes it worse. That might make it a little better. Maybe the Nordic, because it takes the yellow out a little bit. You can try the pink, but that looked awful. So let's try that one and see if this works a little better. Now you're going to click on that one and go over here to this transparency and try to pull out the transparency so that you can see the color underneath, but you've got and you just got to fiddle with it until it looks right. So then you've got the two on top of each other. They're kind of superimposed is the word. Like I said, this takes some fiddling and but just take some playing with it until you get the right feel for it and what looks good. And once you get 2 or 3 combinations that you can do really well, like maybe on this, you can adjust the color. So let's try gray. Ew, that's awful. Maybe that. There we go. That looks pretty good. But then see how the yellow changes a little bit. Maybe we'll add the pink back in. We'll see. Ooh, that's not good. So let's see what we can try. Filter. Let's go back to the Nordic. That looked better. But you just fiddle with it until you find something that looks really nice. I'm not sure I'm really happy with that, but I would, fiddle with it until it looks really nice. All right, so let's see what else you can do. I was playing with this texture because the wood texture in the background is kind of fun. And you can change the color, like I said, filter it, maybe. No, I don't know. Maybe that'll work. Definitely not. So you can see, I just fiddle with it. And then sometimes I'll even change it once I put the overlay. Let's just start with normal. And then we'll drop the notes on it again. Or I don't know, maybe let's try these flowers on top of it. I don't know about purple and green. But maybe we change one to black and white and we'll see. So let me change this to the grayscale. Maybe. Ooh, I like that. That actually looks really cool. See, sometimes if you just fiddle with it, you can do some interesting things. I hit position. I meant to hit the transparency, and you can kind of see how they blend together, and that might create something interesting. Maybe you don't like the green, so maybe you find something that isn't green, or you try and change the color. So let me click on it and see if we can fiddle with that and do anything that looks good. Maybe that. Let's try this grayscale again. Maybe that. Maybe that. That might look pretty good. Something like that. And you can put them together and you can see the two. Okay, so questions, thoughts. Hello, Allie. Hello, Mike. Or Mick, maybe. And that's kind of what you do. You've just got to play with it. The thing about when you do these overlays, you can download it as a PDF, but occasionally when you upload it to the reviewer, you get it might not flatten well. So you need to go and flatten it. There is, if you type into Google flatten PDF, free PDF flattener. There's a few online places. I should have looked it up before the live, but you can just download, and I'll put a link. I know I have one. I just saw it and played with it the other day. So if you're getting any weird errors, you can flatten the 2 layers down, because sometimes Canva doesn't necessarily do that and you get shadows and your design doesn't work. But if you flatten the PDF, so basically flattening means that it's like 1 layer instead of 2. It's making it 1 layer. I have a paid version. There's a few ways to do it, but there's online versions as well. All right. Any questions, thoughts? I love to add textures to things. It is fun to play with. It does take some practice to get things working together. I love doing grays. I love doing blacks and purples and grays and blacks because I just think they turn out really good. There's some tans tend to work really well too. It seems the darker color, navy is another color that tends to work really well when you do stuff like this. I think the tans, the dark colors tend to work better, but fiddle with it and see if you can get, what results you like. But I love adding the texture and patterns to the background. I love adding it to the spine. Like, I think it looks really cool to do spine. This was actually a really nice paper all by itself. I didn't even have to do the superimposing. And adding a textured spine like this really classes your book up. It just makes it look that much more. And these textures, like I said, work really well with the matte. The shiny, not as much. It still looks fine, but it doesn't give it the texture with the matte really gives it a more expensive feel. And I've had a lot of people say that. They're like, oh, wow. Because I've given some of my books to my friends with texture, and they said, this looks amazing. It feels amazing. It looks really good. And it was literally all I did was play with 2 different things and like this. It was something like this. It was a darker one, though. And it had, I think it had smaller flowers. But it was pretty much writing and flowers. And then I superimposed it with something, a different, like, texture. I think I did a linen texture, and then put the 2 together, and it looked so good, and it really looked good. So do stuff like this to kind of class up your books. Like I said, I love it on the spines. I think this covered spine like that looks beautiful. Okay, hello from the Netherlands. Oh, wow, that's cool. Or Netherland. Or we say it Netherlands, but maybe it's not. That's different. That's great. I'll try this tonight. Yes, do play with it. Can the texture be felt in print? No, but with the matte has this soft feel. So it works really, really well. I don't know how to describe it, except if you do this and then you buy one, you see that you can't feel it. But because the matte has that soft kind of, I don't want to say fuzzy, but sort of fuzzy. It's like soft, silky, fuzzy. I'm not really sure what. I'm honestly not sure what to call it. It's somewhere between fuzzy and silky. It just looks really, the textures just really come out because of that. Thanks for, Frank says, thanks for these ideas. Whenever I add a spine, I have trouble centering the text. Oh, okay, that's a good one. Okay, so, okay. Are you adding a larger spine, or are you adding just the spine? So let's do both. So right here, if you add this bigger, what I call the cover over, or I don't know, wraparound. That's what I call it. Wraparound spine. So the color wraps around. I center between this edge and this edge right here. This edge is your bleed. Oh, I didn't pull that up. I'm going to do that. But I center between here and here. And then it looks good. Now, if you're going to do spine, like just a small spine. So say you were going to make a spine just this 0.27 size, then I would center between just this edge of the spine and this edge, and that will center it on Amazon for you. So right at the edge to over here. Now, let me pull this up because I had it up to show you guys. This is the KDP calculator from KDP. It works well, but it is very confusing to say the least. Let me make it kind of big. Okay, so what you're going to do, I have a link to this in one of my videos. I haven't put the link on this video, but I will because it's kind of hard to find. But you can just download it. It's an Excel file, so you can open it in Excel or Google Sheets, I think is the free version. It'll open, or I assume it'll open, it should. And you're just going to click what it is. So black and white, or black and white and cream paper, black and white paper, or color and ink. So you just pick the right one. Usually you're doing black ink, white paper. You pick your size. So let's do that 6.5. I'm doing the drop down. So 6 by 9. Got to go up, I guess. Okay, this doesn't want to go up. There we go. 6 by 9. Where is it? It's really tiny for me. I can't find 6 by 9. Why can't I find 6 by 9? Oh, there it is. It's just very tiny. Sorry. Apparently I need glasses. And 120 pages. So I'm going to hit, it doesn't really matter. It's because I'm looking for cover size. I'm just going to hit cover, right? And I'm going to make it bigger for you, but this is what I've outlined. So this right here is where I've put my edges, and then these are the spines. So let's go in bigger so it's not so ridiculously tiny. It's ridiculously tiny for me. So you're going to get your spine width right here where it says 0.27 spine width. Okay, right? So you can look, and it's from this to here is the spine width and the center. So in Canva, it's really easy to find the center line because you just drag the grid over and it'll highlight when it's centered. And so then that's why I said you have to do a little math. You have to basically get your calculator out. Let me, if my calculator will open, just a calculator. But like I said, if you make this once, you don't have to make them again. And you can download their templates, but honestly, I hate their templates because I never can get it quite right. So there's 0.27 divided by 2, right? And then it's 0.135. So if the center was like 6.26 or something like that, you would add 6.26 and this together, and that would give you what your line needs to be on the grid. And then you would have to subtract to get the other side. So when you're adding, you're getting this side. When you're subtracting, you're getting this side. I hope that makes sense. I know math, but but right, if you're coming over and this is 6.26, you add this number to there, and then you subtract to get this number. Hopefully that is clear. And then this other one you're going to need here, I'm just going to put that down there. You're going to want the size, right? Here is the cover height. Kind of ignore all these numbers. Actually, I guess this one might be helpful. But you go 925 is your cover height and width. So that's what you're going to set in Canva. And then your cover width is going to be 12.52. And so then you can go, and it says right here is what you need. You're going to need your outside margin, which it's showing it from here, is 0.25. So you're going to kind of ignore those numbers. You're going to basically go 0.25 over, which apparently it gives you, which is 12.02. No, wait, that's not right. So that's why I said these numbers are useless. You're going to have to figure out what 12.2 is. Let me pull out my handy dandy calculator here. So the whole length was 12.52, right? Minus, and I know this seems complex, but like I said, if you just set it up once, you don't have to do it again. Minus, what is that? 0.25. Oh, that's 2.8, sorry. 2.5 equals 12.27. So this line right here that I created is 12.27, right? Is that what it was? Yeah, 12.27. And then this one would be 0.25 because you started at 0 from Canva to go over. All right, I know, math in public, but it wasn't too bad. But that's why I like to set it up once, and it's like a set it and forget it thing. That way you don't have to fiddle with it. Okay, I always do text before I create the spine. Always create the spine first. I always do. I do size. I have my spine. Like that's how I do it first. And I know sometimes I'll have to pull my spine forward because if you lay it down first, you're gonna have to pull it to the front. But it centers my design, because if you just start doing stuff, then you're gonna have to move that. So I always do my spine first. I put my size, I put my spine. That's kind of how I do it. But if you have those grid lines like I do in Canva, like you made this, you know where your spine is, right? My spine is right here. Now, if I'm going to do this wrap spine, I definitely should do this first because I'm centering here to here. Okay. Satin. Oh, yeah, it feels kind of like satin. Yeah, kind of. That's what the mat cup feels like. You always do the text before the spine. Create the spine first. It'll save you time, or at least aggravation. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad that you like my channel, and that's amazing that you're from Morocco. I think I've been to Morocco. It was really pretty. I liked it. It was different than I thought it was going to be, but I really liked it. Okay, Bailey says, I published a book, but it showed the text boxes behind, so I'd unpublish it and fix it. They didn't show during the preview. Okay, I know exactly. That's that whole, like I was telling you about, sometimes the layers it should print actually probably fine, and it won't print with that. But these layers, if you have some sort of transparency, so like the text box, right? There's the text that had color, but the box had a transparency to it. And so it's because the layers aren't, it's not flattening. It's not flattened. It's like picking up, I don't know why it does it sometimes and not other times. I honestly don't know why, but you can fix that by flattening it. So that's the trick. You just need your PDF flattened. And like I said, I will find that place that you can do it online, and I'll put it in the show notes, but you can just type into Google like free PDF flattener, and I'm sure it'll come up. I would do it live, but I would be embarrassed if I can't find it that quickly. Maybe I should be embarrassed. I'm telling you these things, but I know I have a website. I was just checking it out the other day. I just don't have it on the top of my head. Okay. Well, thank you. All right. Any other questions before I go? I really wanted you guys to up your cover game. I want to make sure your covers are centered. That is so important. I was looking at a bunch of books the other night and they weren't centered. And I was like, and I remember when I was first doing this and there was no tutorials out there, I didn't know what I was doing. I was so frustrated and I just didn't get it, right? And so I get where you guys are. You're like, why won't it center? And so I literally did this. I started forgetting the templates and making my own and doing these lines and then figuring out how and what to center it on. And like, it changed. Like it's amazing if you just kind of learn just enough technical stuff, and then it makes everything easier because you're not frustrated later when you're like, why won't it center? Why won't it do this? But if you just kind of learn the rules, then it makes it so much easier. So I sat down, I figured all this out with the template and the math and everything. And once I did that, it was amazing how much easier it was because I understood what all those numbers meant and how to use them. So I really recommend doing that. So I really want you to do that. I know it takes a little bit of time. I know it's a little math, but you can use some calculators and like just try and figure that out. This is the ruler, right? So I was saying, all those numbers, 0 here to 12 here. So that's why this line is at 0.25. This one ends up being at 6.125. Oh, let me show you a tip too. When I was doing these grid lines, I couldn't get them quite right sometimes. So if you zoom in, it makes it easier to move it in smaller increments. Because before it was moving it like way too big of jumps and I couldn't get the number I was looking for. So you just need to zoom in if you can't get it, like it keeps jumping too far. So if you zoom in, it'll make it at smaller increments. So try that. Yeah. And I just want you to make better cover designs. See how when you zoom in this, like, and then your thing isn't going to be this big. It's going to be at 100. But see how it just kind of gives it some interest. Let's see what 100 looks like. 100%. So about there. So it just gives it that patterned look, and it looks really good. It just adds a lot to books, I think. Something to do. If you're using like a fake leather background or something like that, don't put faux leather in your thing. And honestly, I would actually make it look a little less faux leatherish because people get really upset. They thought it was going to be more than what you offer. Even if you put faux leather in there, it doesn't matter. They get upset because they don't read. All right, other questions? I think that is about it for today. I really want you guys to, I just want you guys to succeed. And it does take a little time to create those quality books, but quality sometimes means learning stuff like this and then fiddling with it until you find the things that work for you. Like I said, I can do really well with darker colors, purples, blues, blacks. Those tend to work really well for me, grays. But, you know, fiddle with it and see what you like to do. I usually, for these like pink stuff, I end up buying someone's pattern because they do it better than I do. What is flattening of colors? Okay, so flattening means that, see how this has layers, right? Okay, so there's this layer and this layer, right? And the one below it. But flattening means you're making it all one layer. And Canvas, it's supposed to do that, but it really doesn't do that. It kind of still leaves some of that. And so if you have that problem where it's just not looking right, you have to flatten it. It's just a term that means taking all the layers and squishing them into one. Let's see, I will try on Google. Hopefully I won't humiliate myself not being able to find it. It's super easy. You just like upload your file, hit flatten, and download it again. It's really easy. So let's see. Flatten, let's try PDF or free. Let's try that, see what we get. Flattening PDF online. There you go. There's one. Online editor tool to flatten your PDF. See, oh, small PDF. They have some great products. I would actually use this one. This isn't the one I was looking at, but small PDF. They have a lot of great products. They only let you do like 2 or 3 for free, like each day. But heck, that's pretty good. You can, you know, do that sort of thing. But, you know, check these out. I have one that I was looking at the other day. I don't remember what one it was. But you can do and kind of test out and see which ones. All it's really going to do is have you upload the file and then download the file again. You just hit flatten and it downloads it. So does that help? Okay, let me close this. Let's see. Okay. Hey, Myrna, how are you? Could find help on this topic and then oh, good. I'm glad this was helpful for you because I was really frustrated with those lines too. And I was like, this is so annoying. Why won't they go away? And then I'm like, I just need to flatten the PDF. And once I did that, it worked fine. So, all right. Questions, thoughts? I should go, but I hope this was really helpful. And I guess that's about it. All right. I will see you guys, yes, next week live again. Warning to summer. I will be for the summer, I'll be out and about. So there will be a video every Wednesday at noon, but it won't be live. I'll start my lives. They'll be like, I'm trying to schedule 2 or 3 videos a week, but I won't be live again until the very end of July. But I'll be live next week, which is, I don't know, June 16th or something. And then you'll get videos every week, actually like 2 or 3. And then yeah, I'll be back at the very, very, very end of July. All right. Oh, question. How do you add the textures? You combine them and use transparencies. Like it's at the very beginning, but honestly, you're just going to combine 2 different layers together and use the transparency. So you just fiddle with it. You can change the color, which you can adjust over here. Oh, sorry, wrong button. Filters to try and change the colors or try and change effect. And then you just move the transparency up and down. So let's do this one. And oh, that's the back one. But see how you can kind of fiddle and it changes the design a little bit. So you just fiddle with it, add different layers together and combine it. It's a thing that takes kind of some practice and fun. All right. I know I do love the textured spine. I think it looks so fun because I've done a lot of these and it really classes it up. Even if you just have like something kind of boring here, it really makes it a lot more classy than just boring spines. So I love to add textures to spines, especially if you have a really busy pattern or something here. The textured spine kind of is nice. All right. Thank you so much. I will see you all next week. And let me know if you have questions in my Facebook group or on YouTube. Thanks. Bye.